Have you been looking at McAllen, Texas as a place that you want to move to? Maybe work or play or family or something's bringing you down there. Maybe it's the killer property values. But before you move here, you need to know these things. And these are some negatives about living in McAllen, Texas. And so we're getting after it on this video. We are the Living in McAllen, Texas team. I'm Brent. And this is Rhonda. And so we are going to dive right in. Now be sure to stick around to the very last one because it shocked me. I'm sure it will shock you too. So let's talk about the first question is really what's the traffic like there? Traffic is a relative term. If you're coming from New York or California or Chicago, some of these big metropolitan where you could sit in traffic for hours and hours and make it 1 mile or less. What is it like there in McAllen, Texas?
Well, they've been working on the interstate since I got here 5 years ago. It's a running joke. Yeah, you just keep working on yourself like they keep working on 83. But I'm from California originally, and they know what traffic is, and I know it's like being in stop and go traffic for 2 hours. So 15, 20 minutes to get across town, even with traffic, is just great.
So as we were driving around, there was a bunch of construction going on that interstate. Is there a deadline? Is there a timeline that they're going to be done with that?
Well, the major thing they're working on now is the interchange. When we got here, it was in mission and it slowly moved along. The most difficult part has been the interchange. That makes it a little bit more complicated. Once they move past that, it'll just be regular construction. Won't be that much of a problem. So I'm guessing within the next year or so, we should be past the interchange.
Now, usually I would consider this a benefit to a place, but explain to me how migratory birds flocking to an area for a couple months is a problem, because I think it sounds awesome, but there's obviously some negatives to this. So explain to me about that, Rhonda.
This is a main area for the migration of birds. 3 major world birding centers here within a 20-minute radius. And so at different times, usually in the wintertime, we'll have birds coming through, mainly grackles. They're black. They're really blue, but they look black. And there's millions of them covering all of the power lines. And it's very interesting. Don't park under a tree ever when they're there, but it's here in the valley. There are at least 3 major world birding centers here in town. There's one at the Quinta Mazatlan, there's one at the Edinburgh City Park, there's one in Mission, and if you're interested at all in learning more or seeing these birds in the wetlands scene, this is the place for you. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Okay, so I'm originally from Pacific Northwest, Washington area, the western side of Washington State. So it's even cooler and more rainy over there. So I'm used to, considerable amount of rain, cloudy days. It's maxing out at like 95 degrees during the summer, maybe 30% humidity. And that's only for a couple days. But then it's hovering around 80, 85, and it feels nice. So explain to me what the weather is like there in McAllen, Texas, because, man, it's hot. It is very hot. It feels like 120. It feels like 110. But there's also a little bit of humidity mixed in. Talk to me about the storms. I mean, do you guys get storm damage? Do you guys get hurricanes down there? What's going on with that?
Yes, it can be very hot here. It can be very hot. It can be very humid. It's funny because it'll say like, oh, it's 100 degrees, but feels like it's 115. Well, it feels like 115, then it's muggy. We are enough inland from the ocean that even if it hits strong at the island, it would have dissipated. Not too concerned about hurricanes. We're not in Tornado Alley like some parts of Texas. So even though it does get hot, it doesn't snow. So I know a lot of people who deal with shoveling snow and their car's frozen and they deal with the ice on the windshield. So you will never deal with ice on the windshield here, ever. If you like sunny weather, this may not be the place for you. But if you like the warm sunshine pretty much year round, yeah, this is a place for you. This is a citrus area. Wherever citrus likes it, like in California and Florida, it's a sun-loving area.
So as I was flying into McAllen, Texas, man, I noticed how small the airport was. There was 7 gates at this whole airport. There was 2 turnstiles for the luggage. And in one airport that we even visited, there was 1. So it is a very small airport. So conveniently, you're in and out, but they don't go many places. So talk to me about your experience with the airport system there.
Basically, yeah, we have two smaller airports, one in McAllen and a half hour away, the one in Harlingen. They are very small. I don't think they're more than 5 or 6 gates at the one in McAllen, and like you said, the one in Harlingen is about 4. But we have all the major airlines, United, American, Southwest, between the two of them, even Allegiant. And it's easy in, easy out, easy to pick people up. The one in McAllen is right behind the mall. So it's like, oh, go to the mall, pick somebody up. And you can get connections to anywhere.
So obviously there's going to be an abundance of taco trucks and good Mexican restaurants, and all ranging from just a taco truck to a fine dining of Mexican food. If I'm hungry for something from Asia or Indian food, is there an option for me there? Talk to me about the restaurant choices.
We don't have a huge diversity of restaurants, but we do have them. There's not a lot, but you can pretty much find what you're looking for unique. There's a Korean place, there's an Indian place, there's a Vietnamese place. I thought we were so far south that we wouldn't get good barbecue. Like, we're in Texas, but we're so close to Mexico. I thought maybe we don't have good barbecue, but we have some of the best barbecue I've ever had. Like real smoke pit barbecue. Besides all the fantastic Mexican food that ranges anywhere from your taco stand all the way up to fine Mexican cuisine. And I don't know anybody who doesn't like that. And added to the fact that we're so near the ocean, you got a lot of fresh seafood. And people love fresh seafood.
Something I noticed about departing McAllen, Texas, when you start heading north or any direction really, you start getting into crops and more crops and more crops, and then windmills and lots of citrus, lots of cotton. There's just a bunch of agriculture down there, but there's also a massive amount of expansion. And we visited one of the premier home building sites I've ever seen in my life. It was Tres Lagos. It was on the north side of McAllen, about 15 minutes from 10th and Trenton, where all the shopping's happening. And man, that place was amazing. It's been open for 7 years. It's going to be building for the next 18 years. They're going to have their own hospitals, grocery stores, gas stations, shopping centers. Like, you won't have to leave Tres Lagos area. There's going to be lakes, walking trails. There's a church. There's a university. There's schools. There's an IDEA school. They got an amphitheater where they hold small concerts. They got playgrounds. They got food trucks that go there. They've got everything you need inside this like 700 acre, 800 acre area that is absolutely stunning. So if you work from home, this is a brilliant option to look at. Really great values. You can get a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, 1,500 square foot for like less than $300,000 or right at $300,000. You know how prices go. They usually go up. So you got to check in with Rhonda. This is why you got to check in with Rhonda and really reach out to her. Email, phone number, text, whatever you got. Book a time on her Zoom calendar so you can share your story and really get to know who you are and like how we can best serve you in moving to McAllen, Texas. That way we can get you the right house at the right price. But let me ask you this question, Rhonda, is when we were looking around, I did not see a bunch of new construction going on. So it seems like the inventory is really, really limited there, and there's not a whole lot going on for new builds in that area. What do you think?
Well, there's construction going on everywhere. It's not a lot, but there you can find new homes going in. Like we looked at Tres Lagos, like we'll look at Los Lagos. Less expensive construction going on in places like Weslaco and Donna and San Juan. There's new construction in all the ranges. As far as new construction goes, there's not a great variety and amount of new construction, but there is some, and we know where to find it. We know where to look, and we know the areas. We know whether it's going to be in northern McAllen or whether it's going to be along the area along the expressway in Donna or Weslaco. Tres Lagos is a master plan community. It's a 25-year project. They're 7 years in. And we were touring it and learning about it. We're talking about it's going to have up to 9,000 houses of all different ranges. We're talking about from the 300s up to the 3 millions. And they have lakes and schools and university and church and their own fire station, their own police department, not to mention shopping and dining, all located within the Tres Lagos area. So this is an area that's growing and is very desirable here in McAllen.
Taxes. Everybody loves talking about taxes. So Rhonda, tell me this. What is the tax situation going on in McAllen, Texas? What are you going to pay for property tax, sales tax, income tax in the state? What does it look like?
So here in Texas, we don't have a state income tax.
Woohoo!
Yoo-hoo. But you know the government's going to get their money. There will be property taxes and property taxes that are assessed them every year. Just keep wanting to go higher and higher and higher. And so that's how they get their money, through the state and county and sometimes even city taxes. There's no state income tax here in Texas.
McAllen, Texas is pretty far down there. I mean, if you look at a map, it is all the way down there at the tip. So how far away is a major city like, I think the next one is San Antonio or Houston. Maybe I want to go on a cruise leaving out of Galveston. Tell me about that.
Yeah, it might be. Well, here in the valley, the whole valley to me, from Rio Grande City, maybe Roma, all the way down to Brownsville, to me, is like one big metropolitan area. That's how I view it. And you've got Mission, McAllen, Far, Edinburgh, San Juan, and then all the way down to Harlingen and then to Brownsville. And we have everything here. It's a major city. We have industry. We have our tourism. We have our ocean. We have our beach. But we're not close to any other major cities. We're 3.5 hours from San Antonio. We're 5.5 hours from Houston. So it can sometimes seem a little isolated. Now, flip side, we can drive. Flip side, we can fly.
Rhonda, is there even anything to do in McAllen, Texas? I mean, you're so far down there, but what is there to do? I mean, is there a culture? Is there entertainment? What can occupy your time? What hobbies can you do? What can keep you entertained in that area?
As far as the entertainment goes, there's sometimes can seem limited. We don't constantly have Broadway shows coming through, and we don't have any major theme parks, which is really sad for me. But here's what we do have. We do have, every year we have the annual livestock show. So it's like a fair, and they go and you see the animals. Also, there's a midway with rides and food and stuff like that. And then we have the Bert Ogden Arena where the Vipers play. That's professional basketball. But also when we get major acts that come through, Latino acts as well as in English. We've had Gabriel Iglesias has come through, and the Newsboys are coming through in a couple of months. And if you keep your eyes open and notice what's actually here, there's a lot more than first meets the eye. So maybe there's not enough stuff here for you to do to keep you busy, but just remember, we are only 1 hour away from the beach.
So the media would tell us that there's only negatives about living right on the border near Mexico in Texas. And so, Rhonda, tell me about the pros and cons about living right near the edge and how that is a benefit and how that's frustrating. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so from where I live, it's about a 25-minute drive to the border. We cross at several places. We visit Mexico on a relatively regular basis. I know that you might be seeing the news and they might be saying a lot of things about the border. I will say that my experience has not been what they're showing on TV. The border, it's there. People use it every day, go back and forth to do their jobs, to buy stuff, to come here and shop. They come here to shop. We go there to shop. We get a lot of shoppers from Monterrey and other places like that. But as a negative, having the border so close by has not been a negative in my life here. Thank you for joining us today on our tour of McAllen, Texas. If you are thinking about moving here or thinking about moving anywhere in Texas but are considering the Valley, please give me a call. I'd love to hear your story and find out how I can best help you. Give me a call. My number's in the description below.
And lastly, the final negative about living in McAllen, Texas is so many people are moving there. It is actually on the top 20 list of where people move to in 2022, people are flocking there because the property values. You can get a brand new house for $250 in certain areas. You can get it for $300,000, and these are 2,000 square foot homes. Price per square foot is anywhere from $120 to $160 per square foot. Less in some places. You can get mansions for really inexpensive prices, and that's why people are moving here. And this is what, this is a negative because property values are going to go up. So if you're looking for a market that is going to appreciate, it's going to go up. It has great schools, it has low crime, has a beach an hour away, SpaceX an hour away, all these features and benefits, but the property values are going to go up in the next 5 to 10 years. McAllen, Texas is what you're looking for. And be sure to reach out to Rhonda, phone call, email, text, book a Zoom time so we can get to know your story and how we can place you at the best neighborhood that's going to fit you and your family. This is why you got to reach out so that we can help you. Reach out before you get here. Reach out before you come. That way we can get to know you and really point you in the right direction. When you're here, you can really get to know the area better. And so thanks for watching the video. Stay tuned for the next one. Do all the YouTube buttons, like, subscribe, all that stuff. That way you stay in tune of what's happening in McAllen, Texas.